Is this good? Almost.
Is Ronnie there?
Ronnie is not there. We have Linda and Tom.
Okay. And G is who?
Yeah.
Oh, there's Ronnie.
There's Ronnie.
Okay, great. All right. Terrific. Everybody's here. All right, ready to go? It's 6 p.m. This is the parking committee, ad hoc committee. Tom's here, Ronnie's here, Duan's here, Dominic's here, and I am here. We have a lot to cover tonight. A lot's happened in the last week, which is good. Good news. We're gonna start with fees. The finance committee is going through all of the fees right now for parking. And they're raising these fees, which I think is a great idea because, you know, obviously, this is one of the only revenue sources for the town or the city aside from our taxes. So, sorry. That is our consultant. Oh, and he said that I could text him. He's in another meeting right now if we had questions for him tonight. One of the questions that I had for you guys was, should we continue to have free parking on Sundays? There are two churches, two Christian churches on Warren that I know of.
True. Yeah, that's
So
true.
can we do this, right? The parking by the churches, can we do that, those, because now we have the luxury, right, of doing certain things, right?
I can ask the software engineer if he can possibly do that.
Because I would like, I know we talked about it before, so I think definitely for the churches, I think for the service, we definitely should have them free, right?
Okay.
Secondly, I think, but the other ones we should have, and I think during the week, we should have free parking, because I think that affects our residents more.
Free parking
I mean,
during the week?
One day,
One day?
Yeah, one.
yeah. The suggestion from the parking study was,
Doing it on
have-
Monday?
no, it felt like a lesser day was like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay, I'll ask about near churches and on Tuesdays.
Because that affects more of our residents and, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. So I'll ask about that. In the parking study initially, it said time limits, no time limits on the streets. Now it's 2 hours, correct? Right? So what they suggested is we do no time limits. Past 2 hours, it becomes $2 to park instead of $1. What do you think about that?
Yes,
Yes?
yes.
Okay, all right, so this is a big yes.
Yeah, I think that also in cities that have the 2 hours or even if there's a 1 hour limit, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't park for longer than that. It just means that you have to either go to the meter or refeed the meter. It's just an incentive. It's an annoyance so that you're not just lingering there for like 8 hours or something if you don't need to be there. So
Right, but what if you are someone who's at work or you are someone who lives here and parks on the street?
no, I'm with you on the fees. I'm just giving a little context about if there is like a 2 hour limit, it just means that you have to refeed the meter. So if you work, you know, But yeah,
If you park, you can use text to pay. Well,
Exactly.
everyone can use
exactly.
text to
Yeah.
pay. So
Yeah.
you don't have to go refeed the meter, but the part that would be a deterrent would be that the price will double.
So it's
Yeah.
just another way to incentivize our
Moving.
municipal parking.
Right. Yeah.
To make that kind of the same, right? But on the other ones, again, to incentivize people parking under municipal parking, if they're gonna stay longer, right?
Yeah.
So they'll pay, $1 for 2 hours, $1 for 2 hours, rather than the opposite, right? So then they'll get an incentive to park off Orange Street. Right?
I think, yeah, that's an important context, Dominic. It's not so the main streets should be allocated for people on, doing short-term businesses where the parking lots should be, more attractive to people that are for longer-term parking, right? So
Right. That's
what
I'm saying.
Dominic
We
is
do
saying,
that
yeah,
cheaper, we do it cheaper for the municipal, right?
Yes, we have it at 75 cents.
right,
now,
it's
as
cheaper,
opposed
yeah.
to $1.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay, that brings me to the next question. So we now have no language around what is short-term parking in the municipal lot and what is long-term parking in a municipal lot. So we need language for that. And I think we're going to need to change the code. And that's why I handed you that letter. I'm not sure. I've had brief email conversations with Tracy and with our lawyer, Crystal, about this. I don't really have a path forward. I said I would talk to you guys about language and then go back to them. So first of all, if we're doing short-term parking it's in my head, it's more about businesses and people who live here using the short-term parking for a day long and not more than that.
The short-term parking and long-term parking gonna be designated in all of the municipal lots?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, so short-term parking will be where it has traditionally been. Long-term parking is at Amtrak.
Right, the big parking
Yeah.
lot, they have the short-term, which is
Amtrak.
Amtrak lot, the one right adjacent to Amtrak.
That has nothing to do with us though, that's theirs. We
Yeah.
have,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I guess I'm just asking what's the short-term?
short-term is, there's 2 lots on Warren Street, one on Columbia, which is that crazy letter,
Mhm.
and one on Union. Was there another? No, I
No,
guess
that's
it's
all.
just.
Okay, I just was asking for clarification.
Yeah.
I think for purposes of like, when Amtrak uses their short-term and we do overnight or odd even parking in there, it's generally an overnight thing. So if you wanted, but it's later in the night, so it's like from 2 AM between the hours of like 2 AM and 4 AM, you can't park in that lot unless you're handicapped.
Do we, in our short-term parking, right now, I don't think there is any kind of rule about that, but should we put a time limit on it?
The only thing, if you refer to this with the odd even, that goes into effect at midnight. So if you want to keep short term, you have to be out of that lot. You know what I mean? You can only park for a certain amount of time, but if we do move forward with removing the odd even regulations,
I think they already have.
there's nothing official. It doesn't look like there's anything official.
No. for the
That
lot.
was as of 2021 though, so since then, I think they have.
I haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing anything like
No?
documentation.
Okay.
I think
I know
they
that-
removed the signs, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I know that I think in Columbia law, they might have.
That's,
Because-
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes,
Only
in that
for
particular, in that particular lot, yes, because they also allow the hotel to use permits to park in that.
in that lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that lot's going to be hairy. We can program things differently per kiosk, so maybe the rules in that particular lot are different, but that is gonna be, I think, confusing to the user. So maybe this requires more conversation. I'd like to get Kevin's advice on it. Since he's the parking guru, he's been doing this for a long time and he has a tremendous amount of expertise. He's worked with a bunch of different communities on parking.
Yes.
So maybe that's a conversation for him. So I'll write that as Kevin. Columbia Street.
Are we done with the fees conversation?
Did you have another thought on the fees?
Well, if we're talking about, I mean, I don't know if this is the venue, but
Sure it
I would
is.
like to increase for five, because I think what, 75 now, I think it is. I think we should
75, yeah.
increase it to 100 for the fire zone, and I think 125.
That's not a conversation for us. That's the finance committee
Okay,
is working on that. And I think Rich is putting it all together in some kind of crazy spreadsheet, and then he's gonna show it to us
okay.
at our informal meeting.
Yeah.
So that's, when we talk about fees for tickets, that'll be a
Okay.
conversation with finance.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah. County permits, county parking permits. Right now, they get free permits and they can park anywhere they want in the city.
Yeah,
How do we feel about that?
Horrible.
that sucks. We don't have no free park.
Do we get permits to park in the county anywhere?
Oh, no,
No.
of course not.
Okay, I'm just wondering.
And they own a lot of the parking in the city, so.
I mean, I mean, so here's the catch-22, right?
Mhm.
They're using for employees, right? And, you know, and county employees serve our residents too,
Mhm.
right? So as long as they're not abusing it, right? In terms of, oh, I'm gonna park here on a weekend, I'm not working, right?
They are.
This is where I think there's an issue,
Mhm.
right? But I think we should somehow make it, their permits are good Monday through Friday. Right?
Monday through Friday,
And the work
where
time.
Work week.
specifically?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming that, you're talking about the county DMV, right? And you're probably talking 401 state, right?
Yeah.
So there's not many places for 401 state besides that lot that's gonna disappear anyway. Right? Where are they parking now?
There's another lot behind that building and it's never full.
Yeah, they have
But
two
that's-
lots there.
But that's the county building, right? That's the county's lot.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Oh,
Oh, they're not using it.
I live right around the corner and I never see that thing full.
Never.
Yeah,
They have to do
So,
with Helsinki at night, but during the day, it's almost empty.
so why don't they
so
use that lot? And why don't they use
I
that
don't know.
lot?
I don't-
And
I
just
don't know.
we bring revenue on that, that lot they're using now.
Yeah, why don't the county do their own thing there? So they can get county revenue for parking.
I think they should do it on weekends because everyone uses that as parking on weekends. They're, the one that's on Columbia Street, their lot on Columbia
Mhm.
is being used.
Yeah,
And our lot that are being used temporarily, right? That on 4th Street, that's gonna be,
Um,
that's designated for housing. They're using that, right?
Jennifer,
Yes,
when you're talking about their lot in Columbia, they have more than one lot on Columbia. They actually
Right.
have like
two
3.
across the street. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they got the one off the alley.
There's one that,
Oh, yeah.
I guess it's Health and Human Services building.
Yeah.
Correct,
The big building.
right.
That lot, I mean, if they wanted to, they could charge on weekends. It's full though, usually during the week. Yeah,
Would it make sense, I'm just throwing this out there.
Yeah.
If the county is able to use the city's lots during the week for free, to ask the county if you could do a kiosk in their lots to use for us on the weekends.
That's a good idea.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Definitely. We should formalize that relationship
Okay,
so that we can use their lots on weekends.
If you can program
Right.
kiosks to
Yeah.
only,
Oh, yeah. we can.
yeah, I think that's not a problem. For use on the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, because you're talking about, you're right, so they got 325, right? They got the one across from 325,
Mhm.
and they got the one at Fourth Street.
Correct? And then they
Yeah.
also have the one where the farmer's market.
Oh, the farmer market too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah, that was,
Yeah,
that's a great idea, that balances it out.
yeah.
I mean, obviously they have to be willing to do that, but they're not using the lots on the weekends.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea. All right, so that.
And that'll be huge. That'll be huge in terms of when the hotels in that region or that area come online. Because the hotels, we assume, are gonna be more busy on weekends. So that'll be a great.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And, you know, weekends plus Monday holidays, yeah, totally. Okay, that's a great idea. Okay, great. All right, next. Short-term definition, so what do we think about time? Like, what's the timing? I know Columbia Street's gonna be a little bit more difficult to figure out, but in general, timing? Like just saying, don't overstay 8 hours so that people have to go move their car at some point?
So you're talking about how to do the increments of the time, or for the fee, or what's the longevity of?
So what I'm trying to get at is that there are people using the short-term lots, especially on Warren Street, for long-term parking.
Mhm.
They are parking their car there for 4 or 5 days at a time, and some of
Oh.
them I've seen, yeah, and some of them I've seen with placards, parking permits from the county. I'm not saying they park there 4 or 5 days at a time, but it's not like a 8-hour session or something. They're going way beyond. Because they have permits.
Mhm.
It should be 8 hours. It should be the working hours, right?
8 hours.
Yeah, I mean, because it goes free after 8 hours anyway, so it should be 8 hours.
Exactly my point.
These still 9 to 5,
Yes,
I mean, nothing past 5 PM. Or like you all said, in an 8-hour period, because somebody could come.
yeah, and they're working across the street at Maker and they have, you know, an 8-hour shift and they started whatever, yeah. Okay, all right. 8 hours. Okay, so that's part of the definition. So beyond that part of the definition about timing, who are we intending these short-term parking lots for?
So they were working on one street.
Okay, so people who,
Work
residents and,
and
Workers.
workers.
okay,
Yeah, because the one
Any-
thing we really want to do is get the workers off of Warren Street itself, you know?
yeah,
'Cause that's gotta move.
yes.
Okay,
And I thought that was always the intention of those
Yep.
little lots, was that, you know, it was for people who were working there.
yeah,
We also have to encourage, DPW to pave the lot that is beside Moto, between Moto and the Presbyterian Church.
Yep.
Because right, now, I feel like it's a little underutilized because it has so many potholes and you can't see the line lines anymore. So I think that's something we have to really look at. All right, signage, new signage. So do you mind pulling up what I?
You want me to share with them?
Yeah, so in the initial, report, or study from Fishbeck, they had made a suggestion about, signage and, new branding. And they had suggested the one on the right
And
that
Yeah,
looks
I
like
like-
a helicopter.
yeah,
And then, so I took that and I extended the P. I did this with a friend of mine who has Photoshop. Extended the P, we put Spouty in the middle, so he looks really like Spouty instead of a helicopter. And I chose different fonts essentially, but it's very similar. How do you feel about
I
that?
like that,
Do you like
yeah.
it? Okay.
Looks great.
Spouty the whale.
Yes,
Yeah,
Spouty.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's-
Instead of a Spouty that
Yeah.
looks like a helicopter.
Yes.
No. He does have an eye. He does not have a spout.
No, and it's
Okay.
great that the word park jumps out.
Yeah, yeah. And I
Yeah.
also, as far as the verbiage for the signs, I'm working on that right now. I think we should casualize it a little bit. Not super casual, but I think instead of calling it municipal parking, we should call it public parking,
Yeah,
or no?
I think it's public parking. No, public parking is sounds like free parking.
No, no, because there's gonna be big, you can park for this many hours for this much money.
Oh, this was
So I think we got to do uniform, right? So I think, so for example, right?
Mhm.
If the county says, hey, yes, this is, they're gonna help us out, right? And give us, then that would have to be public, it's not municipal tax. So that would have to be public. So do we want to make it universal,
Yes,
that everything's public?
yes,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you're in a city, right?
yes,
You know, it's public parking.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think the idea that, municipal, I think in the beginning was, to differentiate because it's city parking rather than like the
County.
bank, park, right? You know what I mean? That's private. Right? So I think that anything that identifies it, to me, municipal and parking is kind of the same thing, right? I mean, it's municipal is public
but
parking.
I think some people get confused when they see the word municipal. I've been told this. When they see the word municipal, they think that it's for city employees and because it's the city
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
instead of like meaning, yes, you, everyone.
right.
So
Yeah.
I think if we just call everything public parking and on our signage, if the county decides that they want to get on board with this, on that signage, we just make it extra specially clear that it's only weekends and.
Right.
Yeah.
Weekend public parking.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Okay, great. So that's good. I just need to get the kiosk numbers from the software guy and make sure that those go on the sign, as well as the QR codes. I think we should also have a QR code on the signage that will lead you to other public parking lots.
Like
Yes.
divided.
So it'll just take you to a Google map with a bunch of
Great.
pins on it, shows you.
Right.
Okay, so I'll try and
That's a
work
great
that out.
asset.
So this, the last formal meeting, we decided to hire Kevin Wood. I met with him yesterday for about an hour and just went through our parking plan with him. He had some great ideas already. He'll be working really hard. I know just from the little conversation that we had, I feel really confident that he is going to be a real asset to us. Like he really knows his stuff. And he had some good ideas already. So he'll be putting things in a report for us, I'm sure, and I will pass it along, or I know he'll be here at the next meeting, and we can probably get in touch with him. He's really easy to work with.
I seen you did the introduction to Kim, but
Yeah.
Chief, did you meet Kevin?
I responded, I was included in that email.
Okay, great, thank you.
So, yeah, I know that he really wants to work with Kim. She's really underwater right now. She has a lot of work on her plate. She's also helping with FOIL requests. It's just a lot for her. I feel like we need to get her some part-time help. And especially if, when we move, I don't know how, Chief, you feel about this, when we move to that space within the HPD, do you imagine having another part-time employee there just to help out?
I don't initially.
Okay.
I guess my question is, without seeing the day-to-day that Kim does, is it putting the cart before the horse to hire someone else that we have to try to train and get through all of these things while we're trying to transition to a new system, while Kim's moving to a new location, while we're trying to work out the kinks of what will be more efficient?
What I'm worried about right now is she's so overwhelmed that I'm worried that she will not have time to do any training. And if we do envision later on hiring someone part-time, maybe training them at the same time is a good idea. Just throwing it out
Can
there.
I make a suggestion?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that, and Chief, you might know better, that maybe instead of hiring someone part-time, since we're moving forward with, Doreen, hopefully getting that chief position, or, supervisor position, would it be advantageous right now to, ask Doreen if she wants to take the responsibility and then bump her salary up, because eventually it's going to get up there anyway. So instead of it taking to get another employee.
So you're saying have Doreen help with some of the day-to-day.
Now, I get it. You would know better what her.
Yeah, possibly, but again, without knowing
Yeah, right.
exactly all of the things
Yeah.
that Kim does, I think you had said a portion of those tasks that Kim has might be eliminated because everything is moving electronically.
But they're gonna be replaced with something else. It'll be that, I don't know that the workload will go down, it will just change.
Right.
Yeah,
No, and I understand that. I just think with so many things changing at once, adding one other element might be a little overwhelming to everyone.
okay,
Because for our department too, obviously with her duties that she has that you provided for me, and then senior account clerk duties, right, we want to refine that so that there's like a clear definition of what someone who's assigned to revenue, their duties are, right, under that title, without having them doing out of title work, making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do via civil
Right,
service and those things. And then at the same time, trying to move to a system and to work together to try to streamline everything so we can create more efficiency, because
I think that's a great
that's the goal.
yes, that is the goal.
But without actually seeing it day to day and understanding like, okay, well, what are we hiring this person to do?
Right.
I think.
So how about this? Could I try and set up a meeting between you, Chief, and Doreen and Kim and Kevin? So that, because Kevin has so much experience that I think that he'd be able to see a bigger picture and go, hey, what if we did this? What if we, yeah, I think that would be a great idea. And
I think exactly what Chief's saying too, is because we don't want to hire somebody because we're playing catch up, right? Now we play catch up. Now what do we do with that extra staff, right? I think seeing what's in front of us first, like Keith said, to see how to prioritize and how to get through this, to see what it's gonna look like at the end. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, and I think maybe Kevin has maybe some better suggestions.
Yeah.
But I just think if we know exactly what are the most important things that we need to make sure are done, what tasks can we push off, not necessarily push off, but have someone else do that aren't pulling Kim or whoever, Doreen or whoever away
Right.
from their normal day to
Okay.
day.
Okay. But, okay. I will pass that along and I'll try and set something up.
Do you know what foils that she does? Is just the normal foils that come to the city?
I am not sure. I know that there are quite a few right now.
Because she wouldn't be responsible for that when she comes to the police department.
That's, I know, but what I'm worried about is right now I think she's drowning in work. And she's expressed that, and also through email, as I've been talking to Kim and to Tracy about her role. Tracy has also expressed that she thought there should be a chief, a bureau chief, Kim,
Mhm.
and then a part-time person. Yeah, because she thinks it's a lot of work too. Yeah. So,
So is this something that we should be looking as a part-time for globally for the city hall and to assist, right?
this is the issue. I'm not sure if Kim was relieved of all the duties that she's doing for the clerk's office, would she feel more comfortable? Because she's also doing things that are clerk duties.
Mhm.
But that is her title though.
Yeah,
So I guess my question is like, what does she do for the clerk's office? I guess that are pulling her away or taking away from the revenue piece, and are those conflicting? Obviously we need to look at that.
yes. Because maybe it's a matter of hiring part-time for the clerk's office
Well, that's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Right.
and not. Yeah. So that's a whole nother conversation. Okay. I'm just going through my list here. Okay, oh, next question. When do you think they'll start on the new office space?
The contractor was away, this past weekend, and he said he could start either the end of this week or beginning of next week.
Great.
And then there's approximately a 2-week, time period,
Okay, so in 2 weeks, that office will be ready?
give or take.
Wow.
Maybe, we'll say 3 to be safe.
Yeah.
Okay, that's exciting. I didn't think it would happen that fast. That's awesome.
Yes.
All right. So regarding installation of our kiosks, I met with Rob Perry and Joe from T2. Remember him from our,
Yeah.
and Adam Sanchez, who is our point person at Integrated, regarding the way that invoices should be paid and the installation. And it was a super productive meeting, and they got to know each other, and now they can put faces with names instead of getting these crazy emails. There's still some question about how we're going to power the shady side of the street on Lower Warren. They're going to work that out. Kevin also had some just suggestions about that. Rob, I don't think wants to engage National Grid because it becomes kind of hairy. So we're looking at other ways. Phase 1 and 2 kiosks have arrived. Picture, please. I'm so excited. I went down and brought donuts and coffee to the DPW, and the guys from Integrated came with their truck, and it's all safely in the warehouse right now. I have all of the keys to the kiosks, and I have the software too. But yeah, they're there. So we're ready to roll. future planning, I discussed some ideas with Kevin about different ideas for new revenue to create more parking. And he's going to be working on those ideas and will come back to us. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is, should we do a presentation at this point or wait until all of the ideas around what's going into the software have been completely hammered out? Should we do a presentation to the common council and then maybe have a public hearing at a later date, or should we just wait until everything's hammered out? Because we can basically start installing maybe the end of next month.
I think that we just do an update, right?
Okay,
And as it gets closer to the snapshot of the software and everything, because it comes redundant, right? You
Yeah.
want to have more information when you have it, right?
Right.
So just do the update, this is where we're at, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
you know,
okay,
and next month it's going to be even bigger and better.
okay, great. All right, how do you feel, Tom? What do you?
I agree. That sounds right. Ronnie has his hand.
Okay.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure before we quote unquote, go live with the machines, should have some kind of like a pamphlet, even if it's for now digitally available, that way residents that are affected and businesses can kind of advertise that we are going to change this over.
What you can do
Should
is
we?
start with something for the website
Yeah,
and for Hudson Hub, start it there and then, let it emanate from there in terms of anything printed.
Right, the printed part is maybe further down, so it'd be something
Mhm.
possibly we can, partner with the business coalition and they can.
that's exactly what I was gonna suggest. Do you
Yeah.
want to work on something, Ronnie? Just taking what I've put in the summary plan. Do you want to just take that and make it even more of a summary?
Yeah. So
Cool.
do you have, I guess, like, I see on here the phase, and it's kind of open-ended as far as spring. Do we want to put more of a target date on there so that we can say,
No.
like, this is when it's,
Because there's too many moving parts. We have DPW, we have ITS, we have D2. There's too many different people involved, and trying to nail down a date right now, unless, we can nail down a date and ask for that date, but,
Yeah, there's no sense in publicizing it because then if you miss it,
I think
everybody.
we'll know better as it gets closer. Yeah, I think as it's closer, that's when.
yeah.
Yeah, because, we still got possibly the storm coming, we got a lot of things that can happen, right?
Yeah.
So I think as we get closer to, a 2-week notice for, something probably be good, because hopefully by that time, everything's dotted and crossed, right?
But in the meantime, on the website, we could put coming soon.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
A little
Absolutely.
thing together, yeah.
Put the helicopter out there.
The helicopter. No, helicopter's done. What's Addie?
do you guys have a recommendation as to like somebody I could reach out to in the business community or the Hudson
Yes.
Business Coalition that I could?
I will put you together on an email with
Great.
Alex Petrecchia. And he is the current head of the Business Coalition. And, we may want to go, if you want, we could go together. We could do a little presentation to them once we have things a little bit more nailed down.
Also, you can involve Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to, does Gary works at the chamber,
Yeah,
right? Okay,
yeah.
yeah, we could talk to him too about it.
Right.
All right. Cool. Anything else, you guys?
No, thanks, Chief, for coming in.
Thank you,
And,
appreciate it.
who suggestion you did for the parking? County parking?
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Good idea.
No, thank you.
That's why she's in charge of parking.
Listen, there's gonna be some hiccups and there's gonna be some.
Oh, yeah.
things
Yeah.
as we try to roll this thing out, but,
Mhm.
the goal is efficiency, right? So.
Yes,
And maybe less taxing work for everyone involved.
Right.
yeah,
And I think that's what's gonna happen at the end game, but you're right, the homes are gonna be there and,
yeah,
yeah.
always. That's always when you try something new, it's always that way. But this is great. Yeah. All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Anybody online that wants
Excellent.
to make? No?
No,
Okay.
that's all.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Thank you.
have a good night.
Okay, good night.
Chicken for everyone.
Bye.